Welcome to Three Questions with Pastor Carney. With you, Pastor Carney, Phil Kuhn, behind the mic and the scenes, Billy Brinkerhuff. Thanks for watching, guys. Billy, let's get it going. We all have questions, and Pastor Carney has answers. We all want to know what he thinks. There's important information to know. What are his thoughts? How did he get here? What's his favorite golf ball? It's time for Three Questions with Pastor Carney.
Well, I can go with one of two. I'm going to go with one that'll make somebody else very happy. It's a true story,
Okay.
but it makes somebody else happy. And that's the story of when God created woman.
Okay.
Because
Smart
God
man.
said it. See, you know where I'm going with this,
Smart
right?
man.
Yeah. When God said, you need a helpmate, helper.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't do it by yourself. You need somebody else.
It's not good that
And
he's alone.
It's not good as alone. It's the first time in Scripture that God said, Phil, not
Right.
good. This is as my kids would say, no bueno.
No bueno.
No bueno.
Up until that point, it's all been bueno.
It's all been bueno. And God said, this ain't good. And he brings all the animals in, and Noah said, wrong story. Adam says, nope. And
and
then
Moses
God says,
put the
"All right,
animals on the ark, right?
Yep. But I got one for you. And he puts him in a deep sleep, takes out a rib, makes women, brings it to the man and said, now this is your help. I know, in all honesty, in all truth, reality, whatever word you want to use, I couldn't be where I am today without Donna. In my personal life and in my ministry, it's a team. And so she definitely is a helpmate in a complete sense of the word. So that's what I'm going with.
Love it. I got to go with Joseph.
Oh,
Because I think
Joseph.
there's so many layers. I know it kind of sounds like, oh, of course he's going to go with Joseph or whatever. But here's the thing. When you really look at the story of Joseph and how it came full circle, not only was there the jealousy issues, right, with the brothers, and there was the that's real life stuff, right? But then you also have the fact that his brothers went ahead and they sold him into slavery, and then they lied to the father. I mean, it's dramatic, it's juicy. He's got a cool coat that's colorful, in it, of course, right? But I love the fact that then, he gets sent away, and all these years later, he goes through all this stuff and the dreams and Pharaoh and Pharaoh's wife and all the drama that came along with that. But then he ends up working his way up, and he's this really majestic, what was he? What was Joseph when he was at the top of his game?
He was the guy in charge. He was the CEO kind of.
Yeah.
The CFO, the CEO kind of the kingdom there.
Chief of staff.
Chief of staff, yeah.
So then for the full circle of his brothers and his family having to come and ask him for food, for help, and then him showing them mercy, and then him reconnecting with his father before his father passed away. I mean, to me, that's just like full circle. It's got all the good stuff in it, a lot of good lessons, and it's really entertaining.
And I really appreciate the whole scene with Potiphar's wife.
Yeah.
When she comes down and Joseph doesn't give in.
Yep.
And so she stomps away back upstairs and goes to Potiphar and says, he did this, and he really didn't.
Yep.
And then, the whole thing. And so
but then it leads to him being in jail and meeting with the bread maker and what was the other person?
The cupbearer.
The cupbearer and the bread. Yeah.
Not to be a wise guy here, but your selection of that story, does that have anything to do with you and your brothers?
I think it does at times, because somebody who comes from a family of 5 brothers total. So I have 4 brothers and then a brother-in-law. I think that I relate to that. Now, I've never once thought of ever selling any of my brothers into slavery or killing my brothers. But I think I can relate to the jealousies and the dramas and who does this parent like this brother more and all. Of course, I think that's relatable for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
If I can share a story from my kids, we were talking about different random topics last week in class, and one of the young ladies was talking about Noah and the flood, and how so grieved that he made mankind, and it just hurt his heart, and he was so upset that she said, in my mind, I'm thinking that God was so upset, so grieved that he cried, and he was so grieved, he cried so hard that the flood was actually his tears. And I'm thinking, you can't prove that biblically.
Right.
But this is how these are how these kids are thinking.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And if you look at that imagery, that we don't know, it could be, who knows? But
Yeah.
God was so grieved that he cried so hard that the flood was his tears. And that's just a beautiful
It's
thought.
a beautiful way
It's
to
an
look at it.
interesting
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah, I mean, so God bless you, Maddie. And that's where these kids are thinking.
Yeah.
And, you know, so that's why I
Yeah.
love confirmation.
Yeah.
So,
And speaking of kids and stories, this just was coming to my mind. Okay, can you imagine being Joseph,
And-
right? Here comes grandpa and says, let me tell you a story about where my dad took me one day and what happened. I mean, can you imagine the
Yeah.
stories that would have been passed down? And that's the thing. It's like you had Joseph and you had Jacob.
Yeah.
And boy, just before them, you had the crazy story of
Yeah.
Abraham and Isaac
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
almost sacrificing him. And I can't imagine like sitting around a bonfire.
Yeah.
I almost, like,
Yeah.
I had the knife ready. You know?
You were sold into slavery? Let me tell you about my story.
Exactly.
You know?
Did your dad try to kill you?
That's right. Well, I know what my favorite story is. And we were talking about it just the other night in confirmation. Everything goes back to my kids. Luke 15.
Hmm.
And talking about all the cultural things that I was bringing out to the kids and watching their eyes get bigger and bigger and bigger. Things like talking about inheritance, that the youngest son had no claims on whatsoever the property of his father, okay? That was the oldest son. He was the youngest son.
So you're talking about the parable of the prodigal son.
And then demanding from the father. I mean, I don't know, growing up with me, if I demanded something from my father, it would, yeah, look at the face. It wouldn't have gone well.
Mhm.
So he demanded from his father something that wasn't even his.
Right.
And then a whole cultural thing of how he grew up with, as we used to say, the silver spoon in his mouth. I mean, there was lots of money flowing back in that
Yeah.
family because he had hired servants and he gave him half the property and then he squandered it and he had no job. And the whole culturalness, you know, and the father running, picking up his robe and running and showing his ankles and the whole cultural thing.
Yeah.
Luke 15. I can go on and on and on, but I'll stop there. Luke 15.
Yeah.
Prodigal son.
Boy, there's a lot of good ones. The coins come to my mind. But I think and again, I know it sounds generic, but everything that I try to look at in the Bible, I try to relate to our life today and how it, right? So for me, it's the Good Samaritan. And there's a couple reasons why. I love how true today it still is. Oh, they're not like me. I can't help them. I don't want to help them. They're not like me. They don't believe the same thing as me. I'm better than them, whatever it might be. And yet that Samaritan, he wasn't supposed to help that person on the side of the road, you know, who was hurt. And so I think that it's super relatable to us today in regards to how we think we don't do this, but we do this every single day. We look at somebody who needs help and we make an excuse as to why we shouldn't help that person. And so when I look back at that, the fact that the first two guys walk by and they go, oh no, I'm not going to help him. Oh no, he's gross or whatever. And then the Good Samaritan comes along who should have been the one who should have said no. And he helps the guy out. So
Golf course.
You thought I was going with a golf ball, but
That's
to
in the,
play
that-
or to watch?
That's in the promo that Phil leads in with.
To play.
To play.
no, that's golf ball. We're not
The
doing
one
golf ball.
that I
Golf
like to
course.
play, or the one that I have played.
Your
There's
favorite.
a difference.
Well, yeah, there is a difference.
There's a difference.
I think I'm going with the one. What's your favorite course to play?
To play.
If
Okay.
you could play any that
Okay.
you've played, what would it be?
That you have played. What's your favorite one to go to play?
I got to go past history. I played there only once.
Okay.
What is it?
There's three courses.
Okay.
I'm gonna go top three. Two in Florida and one in Hawaii. The two in Florida are the Palm and Magnolia, and they're down in Disney World.
Mm.
And at one time, the PGA had a championship there at those two courses. The Palm and Magnolia, beautiful courses. Their fairways are like our greens.
Mm.
You know, so when the ball hits the fairway, it just keeps bouncing down. Beautiful courses. The Palm and Magnolia at Disney World. The third course is in Hawaii.
Mm.
It's where the Sony Open is played every year, the Wildlife Country Club. And the workers get to play that course after the tournament is over. We get to play that course. And it's a fun course to play. So if I could play any, it would be one of those three courses, Palm, Magnolia, or the Wildlife Country Club. So Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go with a couple answers as well, since you did. I don't play a ton of golf. So I played at Rosella. I played at Stonehenge. I played at Tippy Canoe Country Club.
We'd love to play there.
And I've got to say, locally, Tippy is my favorite. But then outside of that, I have golfed at a place in Myrtle Beach before. Went with my father-in-law to a golf course. That was a lot of fun. When we were in Florida this past month, we went to Boca Grande for a day, which is an island off the Gulf side of Florida. And they had a golf course on this island in Boca Grande. And I was like, man, if there was ever a golf course I'd want to play at,
sounds fantastic.
it would be that. It was just plush and beautiful and green, and it was awesome. So
yeah. Can you hook me up with Tippy?
Hook you up?
I would love to play Tippy.
I mean, I don't know if I can hook you up, but I mean, I've only played in like a couple tournaments there that are like scrambles. I don't have a membership or anything.
I know you don't, but I didn't know if you knew somebody over there. Okay.
No, I don't know anybody over there. I can get you on my boat on Tippy, but that's about it.
Okay. But then there's courses I would never play on because it's definitely private and definitely big time money. Is Augusta National in Georgia and Pebble Beach. You know, which I dream about going to one of those two, but I know
the only pro course that I've ever stepped foot on, I didn't play it, was Firestone. In Cleveland, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
that's where the old was it World Series of golf used to be.
And Murfield has the Jack Nicklaus one in Ohio.
But my favorite course to play is Oxmoor Valley down in Birmingham. It's part of the Robert Trent Jones golf trail.
Yeah.
That's all over Alabama.
We still got to get out and play, boys.
Yeah, because I was called out one time recently.
I wonder by who. Well, that's it.
That's it.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
It's been fun as always.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Hey, take care. God bless. We love you. God loves you. Have a great day.
That's it.
Thanks again for joining us. If you have any questions about Redeemer, have a topic or interview suggestion, or need to know anything about the church, you can contact the church office at churchoffice@redeemerwarsaw.org,
Pastor Carney at pastor_Carney@redeemerwarsaw.org,
Phil at phil.prevail@gmail.com, or Billy at rlc_it@redeemerwarsaw.org. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Please join us again next week. And until then, may the Lord be with your spirit and grace be with you.